A car dealer can decide how to treat you before you even touch the door handle. They notice the car you arrived in, the clothes you wear, the way you speak, and how confidently you walk across the showroom. Then one small detail changes everything. They see your watch. They hear your job title. You mention that financing is optional because you could pay cash. Suddenly, the coffee improves. The manager appears. Cars that were unavailable are now waiting in a private area, but almost nobody notices what happens next. The moment they think you are rich, the pressure does not disappear. It changes shape. This is not about pretending to be wealthy. It is about understanding what dealerships may do when they believe you have money, confidence, and options. By the end, you will understand why wealthy-looking buyers receive different treatment, how the sales strategy changes, and how to stop premium service from becoming an expensive mistake. Because rich customers can still be manipulated. They are simply manipulated differently. Imagine Daniel entering a luxury dealership on a quiet Saturday morning. He is wearing jeans, a plain jacket, and ordinary shoes. He walks past several vehicles before a salesperson asks whether he is just browsing. Daniel says he wants to replace his 7-year-old Honda. The salesperson points toward a few entry-level models and asks what monthly payment Daniel wants to stay under. The conversation feels casual. No manager. No private test drive. Then Daniel receives a business call. He mentions that his company has completed an acquisition and that he needs to return to the office before meeting investors. A few minutes later, he explains that he does not need dealership financing because he already has approval from his private bank. The salesperson pauses. His tone changes. Within minutes, Daniel is no longer a casual browser. He is a serious client, and the dealership begins using a different playbook. The first change is attention. When a dealer thinks you have limited money, they often qualify you quickly. They ask about your monthly budget, credit, down payment, and trade-in. The questions are direct because they want to know whether a deal is possible. But when they think you are wealthy, the questions become softer. What kind of driving experience are you looking for? Would you prefer something more exclusive? Is comfort more important or performance? The obvious explanation is that wealthy customers receive more respect. But the dealership may also believe your value extends beyond one transaction. You could buy a more expensive model, return every few years, service multiple vehicles there, or refer other wealthy customers. So the staff stops treating you like a single sale. They begin treating you like a long-term account. That attention feels flattering, and a customer who feels recognized often becomes less defensive. The first strategy is not aggressive pressure. It is attention designed to lower your guard. The second change is what they sell. An average buyer is usually sold affordability. The conversation centers on monthly payment, interest rate, trade value, approval, and how much cash is needed today. A wealthy buyer is sold identity. Daniel came to see a standard luxury sedan. Now the salesperson introduces him to a manager and takes him toward a private delivery area. There sits a limited version with upgraded leather, a more powerful engine, and a rare color. The salesperson does not say, "This vehicle costs $15,000 more." Instead, he says, "We only received 2 in this configuration, and the other one already has interest." That activates scarcity. The dealership is no longer asking whether Daniel can afford the vehicle. It is asking whether he wants to be the person who gets access. High-income buyers often value time, privacy, and convenience. So the dealership may offer home delivery, priority servicing, premium loaner vehicles, or early access to future models. These benefits may be useful, but they can also move attention away from total cost. When price loses emotional power, status takes its place. And this is where many buyers get it wrong. Wealthy-looking customers may receive better financing, faster service, and more personal attention, but better treatment does not automatically mean a better deal. A dealership may assume that a wealthy buyer values convenience more than negotiation, will not examine every fee, and can easily afford expensive upgrades. So the extras become more sophisticated. Daniel is offered ceramic protection, wheel and tire coverage, prepaid maintenance, upgraded materials, a premium audio system, and the more powerful engine. No individual option feels shocking compared with his income. One costs $2,000, another adds $4,000, another only changes the payments slightly. Together, they add more than $20,000. That is the danger. People rarely overspend because one number looks unbearable. They overspend because several numbers look harmless, but there is one detail almost nobody notices. The strongest signal of wealth is not an expensive watch, an impressive job title, or the ability to pay cash. It is the ability to leave. The moment the dealership believes you do not need this car today, the balance of power changes. Real financial strength does not make you eager to prove what you can afford. It makes you difficult to rush. Daniel listens to the presentation and takes the test drive. He enjoys the quiet cabin and personal attention. But when they return, he asks for the complete out-the-door price, including taxes, dealer fees, accessories, protection products, and every optional item. He asks for the standard and upgraded vehicles on separate worksheets and requests a copy of both offers. The salesperson warns that the limited model may sell that afternoon. Daniel smiles and says, "If it sells, I will buy a different car." That sentence changes the room. Manufactured urgency loses its power because Daniel refuses to compete for permission to spend his own money. Accept good service, but separate service from value. Enjoy the private test drive. Accept the coffee. Use home delivery if it genuinely saves time. But judge the deal by the out-the-door price, the total financing cost, the value of every add-on, and the difference between buying today and walking away. A luxurious experience should never replace basic math. When car dealers think you are rich, they may stop selling survival and start selling significance. That does not mean every dealership is dishonest. It means the offer has been redesigned around a different emotional weakness. A struggling buyer may fear rejection. A wealthy buyer may fear missing access, losing convenience, or appearing cheap. Both fears can be expensive. The goal is not to look rich. The goal is to become unhurried. Before visiting a dealership, take 4 practical steps. First, decide your maximum out-the-door price before discussing monthly payments. A low payment can hide a longer loan, a higher rate, or thousands in extras. Second, arrange outside financing before you arrive. Even if the dealership beats it, you now have a real comparison. Third, decide which features actually matter before the test drive and upgrade presentation influence your emotions. Write them down. If an option was not important before you entered, question why it suddenly feels essential. Fourth, use a 24-hour rule for major upgrades or protection packages. If the offer still makes sense the next day, review it with a clear head. Daniel does not buy the limited vehicle that afternoon. He leaves with both worksheets and no promise to return. The next morning, the dealership calls with fewer add-ons, a lower price, and a clearer breakdown of the fees. But the real victory is not the discount. It is that special treatment never made the decision for him. The moment they thought Daniel was rich, the dealership changed its strategy. The moment he proved he could calmly leave, it changed again. Dealers may judge your wealth by what you drive, wear, or say, but they judge your leverage by how little you need the deal to happen today. Before your next dealership visit, choose your maximum out-the-door price, arrange alternative financing, and remember that attention is not the same as value. Comment below. Would luxury treatment make you more likely to buy or more suspicious? Like the video, subscribe for more finance stories, and watch the next video to see how one attractive monthly payment can hide thousands of dollars in extra cost.